During the process of designing and building the Marble Machine X, I've taught myself a lot of new skills, but there's one skill to rule them all, and that is focus. During the past years, I've been thinking a lot about how to achieve goals and how to focus. And in this video, I want to share with you my thoughts on this topic. For very long periods in this build, I have been very dissatisfied with the progress and my own performance. I have constantly been thinking about how I can improve my efficiency. Years and years of thinking have now condensed into my home-cooked theory on how to achieve your goals and improve your focus in two simple concepts. I put simple in quotation marks because the concepts themselves are very simple but not easy to carry out. And even though this method is specialized for my unique situation, maybe there are some general things in there that can be useful for you as well. Let's get right into it. Let's begin breaking down the first concept, how to achieve goals. When I was home in Sweden to celebrate Christmas with my family, my sister told me about goal setting theory. This is a very fascinating subject and I'm not well read on it at all, but my two key takeaways from goal setting theory is 1. Setting a goal can help you a lot. 2. The nature of the goals you're setting is very important for the likeliness of success. So before we even start to try to achieve our goals, we have to look at our own goals skeptically and scrutinize them and see, are these goals good goals? We have to learn to set better goals. And that's basically my advice for step 1. Set better goals. So how do we set better goals? This is a topic for 1 billion self-help books, but I have found for me personally one breakthrough aspect, and that is to think about your goals as externalized or internalized goals. Picture a tennis player preparing for a match. The player can either think, my goal is to win the match, or the player can think, my goal is to play to the best of my ability to give myself the largest chance of winning the match. The first type of goal, I am going to win the tennis match, is an externalized goal, depending on external events out of your control. In such, it's a kind of a fragile type of goal. The second type of goal, I'm going to play to the best of my ability to give myself the largest chance of winning the match, is an internalized type of goal, depending only on stuff that you self can control. And herein lies the magic of internalized goal. We are already standing on firmer ground with our goals. We have formulated our goal in such a way that we can actually do something about it. We are not dependent on external events out of our control. So that's my tip number 1 about how to set goals. Set internalized goals. The example with the tennis player is from the book A Guide to the Good Life by William B. Irvine, if you want to read more. Another thing that helped me to set better goals is to be careful about the size of the goals, is to be careful about how long-term versus short-term the goals are. So in my example, I want to go on a world tour with the Marble Machine X. If that's my goal every single day, I'm failing every single day. No matter what I achieved during 12 hard hours working in my studio, I will have failed by the end of the day. So what I try to do is to break down goals into smaller steps. And I've taken this into the extreme. Before I used to think in the morning, today I want to be finished with the marble divider or something like that. So first of all, this kind of goal is actually an externalized type of goal. I don't know what kind of issues will appear during the day that will prevent me from finishing the marble divider, and I will be failing at my work yet another day and feeling frustration. And this has been most of the dynamic throughout the build of both the original Marble Machine and the Marble Machine X. I woke up, I've been setting myself an ambitious goal and I've been failing to achieve it, which is demoralizing over time. I wanted to turn this around and stop wasting energy on unuseful frustration. If I use the tennis match analogy for my workday, how can I formulate a goal for a workday? And what I've come up with is this. My goal is to stay focused for the whole workday. It's really simple as that. You've been listening to me talking for like 5 minutes and this is like what I've come up with. My goal is to stay focused for the whole workday. And This is an internalized goal. This is achievable within the same day. It's an amazing type of goal to set for myself. This has turned my work around. Actually, no, this hasn't turned my work around because I've been having huge trouble to focus. And this leads us neatly over to step 2, how to learn how to focus. By the way, the reason I taped the funnel was because my argon gas was out for my TIG welder, and Pascal, you're a hero. Pascal found a new bottle, so now we have a new bottle and I can weld things properly. So now let's start breaking down the second of my 2 simple concepts, how to improve your focus. Working on such a long-term project like the Marble Machine X is very challenging from the gratification point of view. There is very little instant gratification. It's all about delayed gratification and long-term progress. And I have been struggling a lot with maintaining focus and work efficiently, especially when I had to make repetitive work. On the Marble Machine X, there are 38 channels, so there's a lot of instances where I need to make highly repetitive work. I need to make 38 pieces of this, or I need to bend 38 pipes or something like that. And those instances have been especially challenging for my focus because the first pipe is okay, the second pipe is okay. When you're down to the 6th pipe and you still have 32 to go, your brain hates you. It's like a war with your brain. Your brain is screaming out of boredom. You don't want to make the 7th pipe. You want to do something else. You want to set up an account on chess.com and learn how to play chess, play 5-minute blitz games and improve my rating, you know? Because that's much more fun than bending the 7th PMMA pipe. So I have started to look at all these dynamics through the lens of dopamine. And what I have found lately that really works for me and helps me improving my focus is to deliberately reducing my dopamine intake. This for me is the key aspect on how to learn how to focus and do more boring but long-term useful things. Let's get into it. Just like with goal setting theory, I'm not well read on dopamine, but it's described in the Wikipedia article as an organic chemical that plays a major role in the motivational component of reward-motivated behavior. And then it says something that highlights exactly what I find so fascinating with dopamine. It says, in popular culture and media, dopamine is usually seen as the main chemical of pleasure, but the current opinion in pharmacology is that dopamine instead confers motivational salience. And motivational salience is a form of attention that motivates or propels an individual's behavior towards or away from a particular object, perceived event, or outcome. Motivational salience regulates the intensity of behaviors that facilitate the attainment of a particular goal, the amount of time and energy that an individual is willing to expend to attain a particular goal, and the amount of risk that an individual is willing to accept while working to attain a particular goal. So the link between dopamine and achieving goals is quite clear. Dopamine is responsible for motivating us to achieve this or that goal. Let's take a very simple example. When you're hungry and you cook like the best lasagna ever, that looks like Garfield picturesque. It comes out of the oven, you let it rest on the bench, you put the big piece on your plate and you put it in your mouth. Will you have problem focusing on eating that lasagna? No. You are dead focused on that lasagna. Why? Because your brain is giving you so much dopamine from putting that lasagna in your mouth and you are loving it. Not 1,000 horses can pull you from the spot. Like your tendencies to procrastinate during the middle of a wonderful meal is like 0. Why is that? If I understand things correctly, it's because your brain is rewarded with a lot of dopamine for eating the lasagna. It keeps you focused and you continue to eat. So the food example illustrates the positive sides of dopamine, where dopamine is telling us what we need to do to survive. It's easy to see why evolution has premiered a system like this. It's actually really, really smart. But what happens when it goes wrong? Let's go back to the example where I'm working on the Marble Machine X and I need to bend 38 PMMA pipes. I've bent the first 6 and I'm on my 7th pipe and I cannot find motivation to do it. In the corner of my eye, I see my computer and I know that I have a WhatsApp chat with all my colleagues over there. What if someone has written me something? Maybe they have a question. Maybe there's a problem I can solve. My brain is rewarding me with dopamine on the mere thought of checking WhatsApp. Let me repeat this fact. The mere thought of checking WhatsApp is more rewarding than starting to bend the 7th pipe. I go over to WhatsApp and I chat with my colleagues and I do solve a problem or two on the chat, which is very rewarding, gives me some dopamine. So then I'm rewarding myself again with a 5-minute blitz game on chess.com, which I lose because of my pawn structure. So then I play 3 or 4 more games. Then I have a new goal of learning how to have a better pawn structure on the chessboard. So let's play 4 or 5 more games so I can learn that skill. And I only bent 6 PMMA pipes that workday, and I go to bed feeling frustrated and feeling underachieved. So the Marble Machine X build stands still and I'm rated 600 in chess, which impresses no one. So this is what happens when I let dopamine control my behavior. So how can we change that? So the way to turn this dynamics around is to perform a dopamine detox. A dopamine detox will look very different from person to person. Start by mapping out the behavior you want to change by finding out dopamine-inducing activities that are not helpful for your long-term goals. One example from my work days is that I used to listen to audio while working on the workbench. I mainly played YouTube videos, I put podcasts on, and I had them going on in the background, which for me was extra distracting because every time I needed to record with the camera, I needed to go over to the computer, pause the video, go over to the camera, press record, record my clip, press stop on the camera and go back to the computer and press play on the podcast again. And while on the computer, it's easy to get distracted with WhatsApp and chess.com. So this really didn't work out well. And I noticed that I couldn't stand the silence in the room. While working on repetitive tasks, I couldn't stand just listening to my own thoughts because it's just not beautiful. It's just not fun, you know? And what I realized is that I was dependent on a voice in the room just to be able to force myself to stand by the workbench. So I tried to reduce the distraction by moving away from YouTube, and I started to listen to a Harry Potter audiobook read by Stephen Fry, which is a big recommend for anyone. It's just amazing. But when I listened to the last episode a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to try to challenge myself to see if I can work in silence. And since then, I've not been playing any podcast at all when I've been working, and it has been absolutely amazing. Working in a silent room felt horribly lonely in the beginning. I was like exposed to my own thoughts. But after a few days, I noticed how much more work I got done. It was an amazing difference. And if we look at this through the dopamine lens, what I'm doing when I'm standing working in a silent room is I'm training my resilience to cope with lower dopamine levels. By slowly making myself used to lower levels of dopamine, it's becoming much easier to withstand the urge to go hunt for dopamine on WhatsApp or chess.com. So it's really a domino effect. Once you start cutting back, it becomes easier and easier to cut back on all the dopamine. So the rules that I have for my dopamine detox is as follows. I check my messages on my phone 1 time in the morning and 1 time in the night. All other times during the whole day, the phone is shut completely off. I'm not watching any form of video content at all. So if you stop watch Wintergatan Wednesdays through your own dopamine detox, I can only congratulate you for a wise decision. So during these days, I've been overcome by boredom, not knowing where to put myself because I just want to distract myself. So every time I feel that urge, I just drink a little bit of water, practice a little piano, take a short little walk, and then go back to the workbench. And by the end of a day like that, I have felt fulfilled. I have felt like if I have just walked onto the stage of the world premiere with the Marmot X with my fist punching the air every single day. By the end of the day, I shut off the lights in my studio knowing that I achieved my goal. I achieved my goal of staying focused for a whole day. You compare that with the feeling of someone who goes to bed failing to finish the marble divider, and you have a completely different situation. And this is what the dopamine detox has given me. And if someone would have told me that I would be able to assemble these 11 vibraphone funnels on 12 hours, I would have not believed them. But with dopamine detox and a focused workflow, I get maybe 10 times amount of work done on one day. Wow. I'm gonna call it a day. I started 6:30 this morning in the studio, so 12 and a half hours is enough. And very happy with this. So see you at the morning coffee for another focused working day. Cheers. Top of the morning to you. Let's get going. Out with the old and in with the new. West Virginia. So what I'm doing here is that I'm giving the top of the wires a continuous surface so I can weld the top wire on. I think if I look back on 2019, I'm afraid of what I'm going to see because I was in a procrastination mess. It sounds a little cheesy, but I'm still in the beginning of this process, but I already feel that I'm getting a larger reward from smaller things. My brain is like seeing the world from a much more naive place, if you understand what I mean. And most of all, I feel like I've developed an ability to pull myself back to focus whenever I'm distracted, because you will always be distracted. It's like I see through myself. It's like I see through my own bluff, you know. No, Martin, you do not want to play chess at chess.com. Just cancel the account and finish the vibraphone funnels instead. That's what you actually want. I don't want to sound too religious about it because, of course, this is not a like one-step solution for all your problems kind of thing. But not focus on the results of my work, but focus on the quality of my attention. The quality of my focus has turned my everyday life around in a very radical way. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So remember that you can't change that dopamine will control your behavior, but you can change what behavior you allow it to point you towards. Social media endless scrolls are tailored to keep us addicted to them because they are giving you dopamine. I think we're living in a very special time where we have devices that prevents us from ever being bored. And I think slowly it undermines our creativity. I have been a victim of this just like everyone else. And it's only in sheer desperation of wanting to finish this machine that I got motivated to do something about it. I want to thank you for witnessing me when I'm like a Mad Max soldier driving straight into this fire cloud that is the MMX. It means the world. to have you to confess to every week, which has been an issue before. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who are supporting the project through YouTube memberships and Patreon. We're soon at 8,000 people, which is like quite mind-blowing. And thank you for listening to my home-cooked ponderings about goal-setting theory and dopamine detox and how it can help you achieve your goals and to focus better and have nicer work days and days in general. So good luck with everything you're doing, and see you on the next Wintergatan Wednesday. Or not, if you're in dopamine detox, and then see you on the World Tour premiere, which will come sooner. Last weld. Come on, don't screw. Oh, I screwed it up. I screwed it up. I can fix that tomorrow. Oh yeah, I screwed it up royally. Okay, time to stop. I didn't burn through a wire the whole day until the last wait, I can put it on. Okay, time to go to bed, Martin. I did it. I did it.